Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of No Smoke. Today we're going to be talking about voting, one of our great American rights as citizens. But is a vote for your favorite candidate or party actually a vote against yourself? And what I mean by that is in recent years, people have begun to align themselves with different political parties based almost on a social club or a sense of belonging to another group or to the masses of people. And what has happened as a result of that is many people have been affected and have fell under the weight of their vote, not realizing that they were actually voting for things that would later on come back and haunt them. And an example I'm going to use for that is in this state of South Carolina. And I'm not picking on the conservative party, I'm just going to address the fact that South Carolina is a conservative state. And so within my profession of firefighting, oftentimes I've heard firefighters make the statement of being on the conservative train and saying, yes, we need less government. And whenever I hear firefighters say that, I'm just kind of puzzled by that, due to the fact that they are considered government employees. Albeit locally, you're still a government employee. And many fire departments have equipment, have clothing, have funding for staff, simply based on the fact that the federal government has allowed grants to take place and fund those departments. Many departments wouldn't operate without the benefit of those federal resources. But because they chose to align themselves with more of a political mantra or a party for a myriad of reasons, they're actually talking against themselves. That would be the equivalent of a candy company saying that they need less of the sugar industry. It would be the same thing. You're kind of cutting your legs out from under you. And so because of that, once again, a lot of people feel the heat later on from the way that they voted. Outside of the fire department, recently what happened with the VC Summer Project, 5,000 people lost their jobs. And so in the wake of that, people wanted answers, people wanted to know why. And when I think about that, the atrocity of those people losing their jobs, I often wonder, how many people voted in a way that hurt them. And what I mean by that is, once again, we live in a conservative state of South Carolina. One of the conservative principles is less regulation on businesses. And so when you don't have businesses being heavily regulated, these kind of things tend to happen. And so with the VC Summer Project, they were allowed to raise rates. They started construction on reactors that they knew were not going to be completed. The blueprints for the reactor was never really approved. It was said by experts that it wasn't going to work, but because of regulation, they were allowed to continue with it. And so just like years past, we had Goldman Sachs and the Bernie Madoff scandal and the home loans of 2008 that were toxic. These things, the Enron situation many years before that, these things are allowed to happen because you don't have oversight. And when you live in a conservative state that doesn't believe in oversight, once again, you fall under the weight of that. And so, we don't know how many people voted that way, but certainly there were those that did agree with that. But when they voted, they had no idea that many years later, because of the way they voted, it was going to turn around and ultimately cost them their jobs. And so I just kind of want to leave you with, in this next election season coming up, is a vote for your favorite candidate a vote against yourself? Because the implications can last long after that election cycle, and that's no smoke. Comment down below and tell me your thoughts.